Guys, we continue our Worlds That Meet conversations. And this is an exciting one. It's our real life, what happens here, not only on the other side of the Zoom call, but actually in the metaverse. Sort of, how do we connect with people on a different sort of, what would you say, frequency or a digital new world? I have my own colleague from iGaming Next, Elizabeth Smith. She's like a Metaverse guru. So she will moderate this session together with Emily Micallef from HappyHour, the director of people. And you came to one of our sessions in summer, sort of sharing what you do at HappyHours and LiveSpin in terms of your meetings in Metaverse.
Yeah, we wanted to do a few demos, and I think we had to cancel them because one thing with virtual offices, you need very good internet speed. So we couldn't find the connection. So sorry to anyone that booked and we couldn't do it, but we'll arrange next time for sure.
Exactly, absolutely. Then we will be on a different stage as well in this. Catie de Stefano, common Swede with myself, living in Spain, and you're the director of community marketing at onlinegamblers.com.
That's correct.
Welcome, and good luck, ladies, and take it away.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming here, and thank you for allowing us to talk about the metaverse. So to start off, you know, Web3, metaverse, blockchain, crypto, they all have been the buzzwords of these past few years, let's say. And you couldn't really go a day through social media, news article, or whatever without seeing those words or hearing from them. I mean, even having a drink with friends is usually, there's going to be that one friend that will mention it. And I got to admit, I'm always that friend. Even here on iGaming Next Valletta, we had our separate track dedicated to the metaverse, and we took a deep dive yesterday in certain aspects of this relatively new realm. But today, we're here all about the basics, and I brought these two lovely experts of the metaverse to kind of explain what the hype is really all about. To start off, I would like to ask people to raise their hands if they have any idea or understanding of what the metaverse is. Okay, a lot, yeah. Good, so maybe not the basics, then we'll see. Okay, so the metaverse has been described as this inevitable future of our digitalized society. But how and why should companies take this approach? I mean, is the current market of the iGaming industry really in the need of this change? What do you guys think?
So I will answer from a more people and HR perspective. I think the topic is still so junior. We're not sort of at a stage we can fully adopt any kind of metaverse full-on technology within the HR space, but it's starting, and I think that's the important part. I think as an industry, I don't think it's just our industry, I think it's all industries. Now that we've moved to a sort of hybrid remote setup, what is really in question is how do we interact with each other digitally? And now remote, we're not seeing anyone face-to-face. All our communication is digital. So metaverse and Web3, and we're talking about they are separate topics. Web3 is not here yet, but when we just look at how the internet has changed over time, even 10 years ago, we didn't use the internet the same way as we do now. It's much more collaborative. There is a dialogue, whereas before you used to look something up and read a page and static, and that's it. So I think now with our communication flow that we're having within our businesses, Slack and so on, we need to think about, okay, what's the next step to how we communicate? So rather than adopting it fully, I think we just need to start having the conversation for when the inevitable does come, which I believe it will.
No, I agree. And I think for me, it's a lot about community, obviously. Like, we all want to feel connected. And during the pandemic, there was a bigger disconnection where we couldn't see each other. And there was a bigger request to be able to if we couldn't be together physically, well, at least like in the other digital world. But I also think back, so I've been in the gambling industry 11 years. In 2011, we just started talking about mobile games. And everyone was like, oh, we already tried mobile casino games, it wouldn't work, why would it work again? But then Starbucks was launched by NetEnt, and it was a huge hit. And I think this is gonna happen as well in the metaverse, some way, somehow. There's gonna be some way, a game that makes you feel connected, where you can either be, the thing is as well, metaverse is so different. Like it can be different words, it can be a Fortnite metaverse, it could be a GTA metaverse, it could be the Oculus Quest metaverse, it could be so many different ones. So for me, I think once we have more of a, how do you say it, common ground where everyone can meet, that's where someone in the gambling industry should invest, because we can talk together, we want to feel more connection, and I think that's something we are missing right now in the gambling industry. It's not very social. We have social casino, of course, but we still need that connection where people feel like they belong to a brand, where they feel like they can improve the value and help out, and that the operator are listening to them what they want. So I see a lot of future in the metaverse.
Yeah, and in my opinion, the metaverse is such a, survived this hype in last year where everyone was talking about it, and we all forgot that we're just at our initial stages of this realm. And how Emily said that right now it's not about jumping in it because there's not much to jump in. It's more just education and introducing people and talking about why should we, and connecting. Metaverse is all about community, and it's an important aspect of many markets. And in the metaverse, we talk about giving back the power to the consumer. But why is it important, and why should we focus on building a community, and specifically in the metaverse, Catie?
Just like I said recently, it's about belonging, it's about feeling that you're part of something and giving value, because we have to remember, like, people who are in a community, they spend time, energy, and sometimes money on making a product become better. They need something to see that it's actually growing, and I think if you build a community for your product, whether it's in the metaverse or not, you will have the best possible product outcome, because you're listening to the consumers already. And what we're seeing now with Gen Z and everyone, they're going into these different social open worlds, whether it's in decentralized, where they're visiting a casino there, or they're going to the casino in GTA. It's completely different, but all of them want to be together and feel like they belong, and they want to, play the games together and make the games better even. So that's why I think it's important.
Emily, in your opinion, how the metaverse will support more meaningful digital interactions in the future?
Sure. So how it exists, it's currently, the barriers to entry are a little bit high, right? Because you need to buy a headset, and people are like, I don't want to wear that on my face, and so on. So I mean, the product will sort of come in more iterations and make it more accessible to everyone. But essentially what you're doing is, let's say you are, in our case at HappyHour, we've invested in these onboarding gifts for staff, and then they can basically create a virtual office where, with the technology, they can put on their headsets, and this detects their hand movements, their eye movements, and they can be scattered all around the world, but feel a sense of presence, like they are in the same room. And although, on Zoom, I don't know if anyone had Zoom fatigue after COVID, like I definitely did, there is this impersonal touch where people are distracted, you are looking at multiple people, multiple backgrounds, your ability to focus is actually really hard. So we're having less meaningful interactions in some cases. And what we are trying to do with Virtual Office, and what a lot of companies and Meta are trying to do, is instill a further sense of presence, which we're not getting on Zoom. Nothing can ever beat coming to see you face to face. But essentially we can still get non-verbal cues, which we don't get on Zoom. So if somebody raises their hand or is twitching, you can see that in the Virtual Office. I think in terms of digital interactions, it's just trying to enhance what we're already doing. I think for HR people, and I think I was like this as well, when this concept came to me, it kind of felt counterintuitive to agree with it or to like it, because we're all about fostering meaningful connections sort of in real life. But as you start to understand, you start to say, okay, we're not going back in time. Like the world is moving forwards. Digital is the way. So how can we just enhance conversations in a more sort of creative way than what we're doing at the moment? So I think, yes, in terms of meeting and brainstorming, I think we'll see that come first because it's difficult to brainstorm remotely as well on the current tool stack that we use. But more to come for sure.
I think we just have to keep in mind as well, the metaverse is not something new. Like people have been using social interactive worlds for 30 years, like it's different kinds of them. But I do see the potential, like with working online, like you said, like you can focus in another way. And like, I don't know if it's bad or good, but when I use the Oculus, for example, I always get annoyed because I can't use my phone or like I can't eat and do something like that at the same time. But I think in a working environment, it can be great because, you know, you're getting a lot of stuff done. There's no like other outside things. So
yeah, they're doing like PwC, they did a report this year and they analyzed the training in VR. So when you're going through any kind of self-development, and their studies found that because you have that all-consuming immersion, the information was, compared to even in a classroom, so even in real life, people were better able to retain the information for a longer period of time and pick it up. I think it was 4 times faster. So that's even compared to when we meet in person, just because of what you're saying, that total all-consuming feeling, you can't check your phone aspect. So yeah, I think that's will be a cool area for HR as well, training and development.
I think also like, because there's so many virtual, if we just talk about the Oculus, again, metaverse can be so many different things, but if we talk about the Oculus and training, like it has so much potential. So I haven't personally done any training in the Oculus like that, but I did see Super Bowl in the Oculus Quest, and I went to a world that was like built a whole football stadium, and it looks like so real, and I saw the whole game on the football, what do you call it, floor, like I don't know. And then in March this year, I went to a real football game, and I felt like I've already been there because I saw it in the Oculus Quest, and I knew exactly how the VIP booth would look and where to walk in the stairs. Like everything was so realistic. So there has so much potential if you turn that into, let's say, I don't know, firefighting or like something like, you know, so many good things. Maybe not for gaming specifically, but yeah.
What do you think about the idea of digital offices if we stop going to offices altogether and just put on an Oculus and hang out there?
I don't think we'll stop completely.
No.
I don't think so. I think it will just enhance the remote collaborations we're having rather than cancelling the office completely. That would be really sad because I love going to the office. But yeah, I don't think it will stop us from going to the office at all. I think it will just improve our digital conversations or our remote conversations.
But then there's also, like, I saw something about Bill Gates. He believes that most companies would have a digital metaverse for the companies, like in 3 to 5 years or something. And there's some real estate companies that already now have started to build like metaverse offices where there's like a certain part where you can go and press the button and you speak to HR, or you go to another part and press the button and you get connected to someone in the finance department. And I see the potential in that, but just like you say, we need connections like in real life. Like I work from home, I've been doing that for 3 years, but I still love going to conferences because nothing can compare to meeting someone face to face, you know, and looking them in the eye and having a connection. So, but there's good and bad parts, definitely.
Yeah, of course. Emily, you work at a HappyHour, and it's a company that dived heads first into the metaverse. Can you tell us how the experience has been so far? When did you decide to take this decision and why?
So I can't take the credit. It was definitely our CEO, Robin. So basically about HappyHour, it was founded during the pandemic, during COVID. And what HappyHour does is it invests in startups at a very early stage of their life cycle, and we incubate the ideas, or we just provide them with business support and capital to help them scale into profitability and success and beyond. And from what I understand from what Robin has said is when they were starting these companies and having interactions online, he was getting really frustrated with Zoom and Google Meets because he didn't feel like you could sense a presence. And when you work at a startup, it's act now, don't think about it. But at the same time, you need to have meaningful conversations to be able to make good decisions. And when we have a switch on, switch off model in remote work, where we can act. We can say, okay, I'll be like this in this meeting. Now I won't. It's subconscious, but it does exist. So his idea behind it was, let's give employees the opportunity, if they want to and they are curious, to create their own virtual offices and experiment with the Oculus, which is the hardware that we use behind it. We use a software called Horizon Workspace, which is the Facebook Meta product. And what it does is it just creates an avatar. You create an avatar that looks like you. The avatars still look very like Sims-like. But with time, they will get better. And there are some apps, actually, where you can do a facial scan, and it looks even more like you. And it has been taken up, I think, really well by some of the companies in particular. But when you look at the portfolio too, like companies like Livespins and Flows products that we have within our portfolio, they are on the cutting edge of iGaming innovation as well. So then it was no surprise sort of watching these companies sort of be really excited to try something new. So what we're seeing right now is people aren't obviously using it every day, I'd be lying. And I think a lot of people are not using it for work, they're using it for games because it's fun as well. But from the people who have started using it, they are essentially using it for brainstorming and creative sort of sessions and calls where they need to be more than maybe like 8 people, because a Zoom call can get really crowded and it can almost like stifle any kind of creativity or conversation that you would want to have. So they're using it mainly for that, also doing like product demos, sort of creative sessions, as I said, brainstorming. That's where we've seen the biggest pull. And what's so interesting is you can present your screen in the metaverse as well. You can sync your laptop and work side by side. But at the moment, it's maybe you do it for about an hour. And I think the next product iteration will help with the dizziness and stuff like that, because that's also what the feedback that, that people are getting is that, oh, it makes me a bit dizzy if I'm in there for more than an hour. So yes, we've dove in, but yeah, Robin definitely had the vision for it. And I'm really excited, to be honest, to see how it evolves and changes in the next few years, for sure.
Yeah, I think we all are. I mean, I hear so much about HappyHour and, you know, how you guys work in, and it's super futuristic and it sounds really cool. Well, but my last question to you would be, how do you guys both partake in the metaverse, if you do?
So again, I partake in several metaverses. I really use Grand Theft Auto a lot. I've been a big fan of that. But lately, I got an Oculus Quest a while ago, and I've really started using it a lot in Altspace VR, which is open world platform by Microsoft. And I really like that platform because basically any developer can develop anything they want. And that's good and bad, but it's very community building. And for those who don't know, I also work a lot in the cannabis space, and I've joined a very big community there with like cannabis people who not only like make sure that there's no underage people by talking to everyone who comes into the room, but they also stay connected. We connect every Saturday at 7 p.m. We play Cards Against Humanity, and it's just another way for us to meet people all across the world who are in the same mind space and just want to, you know, have the kids in another room but still be home. We don't go out and we just hang out. And I think that's how I like using it right now. I just feel like I'm getting different friends that I wouldn't otherwise have met. But I'm not using it for work right now.
Are you thinking about it then?
I would love to. Like my next, I would love to do a world for next Super Bowl and kind of connect players together, but I would never be able to build like a football stadium like that. So it would be something very simple, maybe like betting or just watching together. I would love that, but we'll see.
You just reminded me of something when you mentioned sort of being able to meet people and feel present with people that you wouldn't have had the chance to meet otherwise or had the same level of connection. It was like during COVID when we were all doing those online team buildings. I wasn't a fan myself, but I partook. And I wasn't a fan of them because I didn't feel connected. So imagine if we are a fully remote company, you have people in 20 countries. It's costly to fly people every 2 months to meet. So this is kind of a good maybe interim solution is you do team building within the metaverse or with your Oculus. And you get not the same level as you would if you were in person, of course, but some better form of that than to what we're doing now, which is quite two-dimensional and bland.
And Emily, how do you partake in, accept?
So, I mean, I got introduced to the topic through work. I had heard about it as well, had some suspicions. So my focus has mainly been around the employee experience side of things and how with the new product updates we can start experimenting with the various companies. but I've also have some games. I'm not going to lie. I like the games there as well. But I would like to start using it for like meditation. Like we were talking about focus. And I think now our attention spans are like 8 seconds or something ridiculous like this. And we're talking about the Oculus, creating this sense of full immersion and focus. And I've heard some good feedback that meditating in the metaverse is actually much easier than in your regular life, because you do feel like you are sort of less distracted. But those are the ones which I would like to use it for, and more meetings probably with my team as well, for sure.
I've used it for meditating, but for me, it becomes like a game in some way, like just because you have it on. But I've tried it for exercising, and that's really fun because you can feel like you're actually out with people, you're exercising together, and you're moving around because you're basically making your own safe bubble, basically, so you can still do a lot of things. It's a lot of things. We can exercise together.
Yes, it's true. Some motivation.
In my opinion, the games are obviously the front runner right now. And I as well, I love to play games inside the metaverse. I think my most exciting thing that I really want to do is VR chat. If anyone has heard of it, where you have to buy a full-on suit and you create your avatar and you walk around, and I mean, amazing communities have been created. You go to dance classes, you go to clubs, you go where, and I mean, thousands of people go there. It's truly amazing.
You need to invite us. We'll join you next time.
I've tried
Yes.
it. I've tried VR chat, but I haven't found any good people that I like. But I have to try it again with you then.
Yes, for sure. Okay, thank you so much. We still have some time left, so I think we can leave the audience to ask some questions if someone has any questions.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, Elizabeth, you would basically be at home in your suit playing with other people.
Unfortunately, I still don't have a suit, but
Okay.
yes, I will be. We'll be looking forward to that. Maybe iGaming next good.
Awesome. We should all
We
do it.
should. I hope Pierre is listening.
Exactly. Pierre is a movie. There is actually a really nice film of Pierre being avatared as kind of Assassin's Creed on top of the skyscrapers in New York. That's cool.
Yes, actually, everyone can create their own NFT avatar downstairs next to the iGaming Next exhibition space. It's really cool. It takes only 15 minutes, and it's a creation of your real face, and it looks just like you. We all got it, so highly recommend.
In 2 hours. Don't go yet.
Okay.
Any more questions?
What are the downsides to going into the metaverse, specifically when it comes to people?
Shall I go?
Yeah, go you.
So I think the downsides or the risks that we already have with something like social media, right? Like bullying, or now that's sort of much more immersive. From a conversational point of view, you have to see the negative side of it as well. Like there are new protocols that we need in the metaverse too, as we do in real life. But I see that there are a continuation of problems we already have. So we're talking about social media being sort of a Web 2 concept, and now moving into Web 3, where we're sort of more immersive content. Those problems already exist. They're just going to sort of continue. And that's why I think it's really important we have these conversations, because we're going to shape how we use the metaverse at the end of the day. But that would be mine, the downside. Yeah.
For me, I think it's making sure that kids are not exposed to any like harmful content. Because I think, I don't know how it is for you guys if you have kids and Oculus Quest, but my kids want to borrow my Oculus Quest all the time, and I have to make sure that everything, it's not like when they're using a tablet or a phone, like where I can actually watch over them. Unless I connect to Oculus, like it's really hard for me to make sure that what they're doing, who they're talking to. I'm not trying to let them talk to anyone actually, but when they grow older. And personally, when I use certain apps like VR chat, I've encountered a lot of underage kids, which I think can be very dangerous. I think that's a downside. We have to try and find a way to do proper KYC. And I think that goes for both the platform and the game developers. Like there has to be some kind of KYC development for the metaverse.
It's still a highly unregulated market, so I think we need to move forward of doing that, implementing new laws, and just kind of paying more attention to it and actually regulating it.
Yeah.
Any more? No? Good. Good. Thank you.